We're back.
Okay,
We're back.
let's get into it. So you were just saying we were talking.
So I was just finishing up where I think we're so quick to judge, and it's important for us to understand and distinguish between the our personal lives and the family lives. Because everybody, as far as I'm concerned, every man first priority is to protect the family.
Hundred
And
percent.
when everything happens like this, you should never cross the boundary to bring people that have nothing to do with you, that didn't cause you harm to get involved into that. It's sad, and I think, slowly we need to start this conversation of supporting one another. And just to say, if there's a lot of people that I'm proud of within our own circle, but Virgil and Kanye West, by the way, that especially the picture of them, like the first time they went to Louis Vuitton, where Kanye West was invited with, like, I don't know if there's 6 of them or 10 of them, all of them. Like, I was right there when they were taking that picture. And I recall
Wow.
Joe Kanye West coming and saying, great work, because I was like exclusive with Vuitton at the time. And it was like, Marc Jacobs introduced me to him. And to see from that point, those guys that just went to see the show, now he's the head of the house. It's a remarkable achievement that we all have to clap, and we have to rally behind that guy. He contributed tremendously, and he continued to contribute. And we have to figure out a way to, learn our, support and build on our support system to one another. Yes, everybody will make mistakes. Everybody was, and I'll tell you this, frankly speaking. A couple of days ago, I was disappointed with Michael Jordan's silence. Not because he owes us anything. Michael Jordan don't own anything. But I think as we're talking about it, there's certain responsibility that come with our profile, And if there's anybody that have bigger profile than all of us combined, it's Michael Jordan.
Yes,
And then
indeed.
sometimes all we need is to hear and know that the person next to you tapped you and say, brother, I'm with you. You don't need anything from them, but it's like, I feel your pain. Oftentimes that alone can heal people. And I think we need to continue to do that in every aspect of things. Like with Virgil, it would have been very important to kind of like, we should rally with him, but never kind of mix things with his family because, he went through a lot of difficult situation right now with people, breaking into stores and all that stuff. It's difficult.
And it almost and I'm hearing people like activism and if you're not gonna protest in the street, then you're calm.
Thank you.
It's like, look, I am not gonna go and protest in the streets. Believe me, I can do a better job being here, letting people know, spreading the word, using my platform and whatever I can, to help spread the knowledge and actually talk people into some sense. Because you and I both have people.
Just this.
It's like, that's what we're doing. Like this conversation, that's activism, that's artivism. Because to be able to, man, I'm sick and tired of, this whole shadism, this whole colorism within our own communities, how we don't accept each other, how we have it's like, let's all understand one essential truth.
It's important.
We are one family. Within the
I'm going to go further.
We are one family.
I hope
Go ahead.
this is they're going to come back and bite me because I don't have the approval of Kalaf to talk about this. But there was a time when, him and I were talking about us creating a brotherhood dinner for all of us when we're in Portugal. It doesn't have to be every month because we know our schedules and we all have things going on. But, we have to be able to, figure out a ways to get together, sit on the table, all of us, and talk about what's important, what's bothering us as a community, and how can we improve and how can we do things together. And I would love to revisit this idea and figure out a way for all of us, to do that and then add some impact.
I agree with you. I think it's necessary. But you know what? I will tell you so. I will tell you this much. It really has to be something that unites brothers and sisters who truly have an understanding of the vision and what we are trying to achieve. Because I've noticed many times, more often than not, when we are talking, when you're trying to keep things, when you're trying to gather people from a certain level, or certain.
I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm aware.
Everybody is up for their own thing, and it's like, you know, if it doesn't
aware.
serve their vision, they're not going to be part of it. And it's like, how is that making any sense? And you have all this great conversation, then everybody, as you just said, when everybody goes home, it's all forgotten about. And it's like, you know, brother, I got this to do, or, you know, sister, I got, like, bro, we need to stop with this nonsense and keep talking. That's why I tell people, I say, look, again, and I believe, brother, you've seen this maybe to a small extent. I don't like to talk for talking. And I believe you're the same way.
Sure.
We are quiet when we speak is either because we know we're going to go about it and be about it. But otherwise, if I know I'm not going to do anything, it's better for me to just stay quiet and say, you know, well, you know.
Yeah.
Now is not the time. But I agree with you, brother. And I think there needs to be a space for these conversations and these actions to actually take place. Because I think we've spoken a lot, but actions needs to take place. And you are acting upon it with your business. You're acting upon it by opening, you know, pathways for these generations to come. You're acting upon it by letting us know what it takes to achieve, by being perseverant, by not giving up, by staying on course. And brother, I commend you for your success. I commend you for being the inspiration that you are. And I please beg of you to continue on this journey of yours, because I personally support you. I don't have much, but with the little that I have,
you have more than enough.
At your disposal. Huh?
You have more than enough. You have more than enough. You're a rich man. You're healthy.
We are.
You gather people. You know, you're rich. Look, if like Bob Marley said, and he said it very well, if richness to you is attached to, you know, with money, you know, you will never find happiness, because money is numbers, and number goes like this. Okay? You're a rich man because you're healthy, you have friends that you can count on, you have the means to have a roof on top of your head.
Yes, sir.
Depending on the level of the roofs ahead of you, above of you, or, you know, or the cars you drive, that doesn't matter, you know, because that's just extra, or whatever the case might be. But the importance is, there's some people, look at this, you and I are talking here, and we're enjoying this free moment of being able to exchange ideas, when still outside people are protesting a life taken from someone just because. So, you know, we have to look at this in a bigger perspective.
Absolutely.
You know, I always say this, we all, with the opportunity, we know how to get up and go to work and pay bills.
Yes, sir.
I don't care if you have like billions of dollars, what does that matter? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the richness of spirit, you know? The richness of spirit is very, very, very important. And, you know, and that you have, and you give it more than you can ever imagine that you're giving me already. So it's a matter of continuing and figuring out, like you said, and I know the fact you're talking about, where a lot of our brothers think, you know, yeah, well, you know, but this is where the vision has to change. And also, I think being a spiritual person, you can never stir anyone to the right direction unless they're willing and ready to go inside.
You have to be accepting of that,
say,
which is very hard sometimes.
I saw, something got to change. That's the only time they would be able to say, I am with you in your vision. So you know what? Sometimes you might want to push people. They're not ready. They're just not ready. And in their bubble, they think I'm the biggest thing at this moment. And
it's okay.
It's okay. It's absolutely okay. We need those two contrasts. But then it has to come a time, get here. You're like, you know what? I'm coming to this conversation without a set mind. I'm too speed. Once that goes out, then you're able to listen, you're able to hear, you're actually even able to see what you can contribute. And sometimes it doesn't have to be in no way monetarily, you know. So that's important. I think this conversation has to just go back. Just me and you talking, go back and talk to brothers. We all have ideas, like, you know, what we can do to add value to our society. And that is the only path that we have to follow. And, you know, and
unity.
the right place.
Unity.
But I
Brother,
want to
thank
say
you.
something to you because now that we're here, I think we have another hour. What I would love to do is slowly. I want to revert to be also the interviewer here with you to capture some things from you because it's
Go
important.
ahead.
And it's,
Go
you
ahead,
know,
brother. Go ahead.
we people want to hear about you as well, and I'm sure you have many stories that you can add to people's lives and inspire them. So
Well,
tell them about you, your background, and what inspires you. Makes you wake up every day and say, "I want to give joy to people through my music and through my artistic view." That is what I would like to personally hear myself as well.
well, brother, let me tell you this. As far as I'm concerned, my motivation resides in the idea that every minute that is given to me is a blessing. You know, things changed for me when my father passed away 6.5 years ago. Completely, as you can imagine.
I
Um,
know how that really affects you, so
yeah,
I know the pain.
it's
I know the pain.
tremendous. It's a tremendous change in life, but it's an empowering change if you decide to look at it this way. And I will tell you why. It made me realize that in the end, I am mortal. I had forgotten because you're young, you're living life. It's like, but all of a sudden it's like, oh damn, okay, this is happening. So, what motivates me is the fact that I must make every day count because not only my mission is I've put that mission upon myself to try my best to do as much and fulfill as much of my passion as I can. My passion, as you just said very well, is to give people happiness, is to reach beyond borders, reach beyond skin colors, spiritual beliefs, sexual orientation, and tap into everyone's soul through my sounds. And I say sounds with an S because I don't have one sound, I have many sounds. I have a sound for every emotions that one may go through. I have the clubbing sound, I have the more chilled, very, very spiritual, I have the sounds that will align you energetically, etc., etc. And obviously, I think when you're not trying to get too deep, but maintain it at a understanding level of a conversation for those who may not necessarily be deeply inclined into some spiritual talks, I would say that I want to make feel good music. I want to make sure that it entertains you, but I want to make sure that I fulfill my mission, not only as somebody who's a creative, but as somebody who's been given the opportunities that my parents worked so hard for. I have a mission to honor my father's memory. I can't barely fit his shoes, even though I wear them for some of my shows. Even though I'm wearing his watch. That's my father's watch. That's the watch that he gave me when he was at the hospital. He said, "My son, it's funny enough. It's the Seamaster, the Omega Seamaster, the watch from James Bond." And my father bought this watch at the time it had just come out. And he really, really worked hard for this watch. And that was right before he became a multi-millionaire and lost everything eventually a couple of years down the line, and all these things sort of like brewed this personality and this desire to really fulfill my mission to the best of my capacity. And so when he was at the hospital, and he said, "Look, my son, I want you to keep my watch." And I said, "Dad, I don't really wear this kind of watches. I like leather, sort of bracelets." He was like, no. This is going to suit you. Put that on your wrist." I said, "Okay, it's the OG." I was like, so I put it on my wrist. He's like, "Hold on to it." And then the next day, he got induced in a coma and woke up 2 weeks later to die the following day. So very heavy, very serious, but that is the motivation. That is what gives me the drive, and that is what gives me this desire to try to give as much of myself to others, to be of service in a way, actually, to really be of service through my art. And brother, when I woke up this morning, I'll give you another example. I felt the excitement in my heart, the joy, because I will repeat this, and I'm not shy to say these things. I consider somebody like you, brothers like Sam and Shaka, your brother Fernando, all those people that are, doing things with their lives, creating greatness with their hands, through their mind. You understand? Those are the people, the brothers and the sisters that truly inspire me. So when I was like, today I'm preparing this interview, this conversation with you, with absolute gratitude, because again, I remember seeing your face in magazines when I was in Central African Republic. When my mother would buy all these magazines, it would be, you know, Elle, This, Vogue, whatever,
Right.
all the big editorials. And I would see this man. I was like, damn, you know, the way you look, the presence, the aura. But at the time, it didn't hit me. It's just much later on, and it's like, hold on. Really? This guy is doing shoes. And I remember, I don't know who told me about you at the time. It was like, yo, but you got to check Armando Cabral. Armando Cabral. And when they showed me your picture, I was like, oh, man, this guy, oh, he does shoes. It was like, I don't know how many years ago. And I started following your word. And for us to be here today, I want to tell people, this is a result of my vision. To be able to sit at the same table of a man like Armando Cabral. For some, it may be nothing. For some, we are just, you know, people who are breathing air and that's about it. But for me, this is the epitome of excellence. This is the epitome of somebody who stayed on course. Because I respect people who stay on course. I respect people who have a high level of work ethic. And that's what you have, in my opinion. And brother, again, I'm the perfect materialization, and I believe you as well, clearly, based on this conversation we just had, that if you have something in your mind and you believe it enough and you knock enough time, actually, you knock long enough, somebody will open that door.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Wow. Look, you see, this is beautiful. This is what I wanted to tap into that from you as well to understand.
Thank you.
Now it makes perfect sense. And I think if I allowed to add to what you said, you know,
Please.
in my spiritual view, you know, we all have a guidance, a spiritual guide.
100%.
And I think your father is right on next to you on that watch. He probably know why he gave it to you.
Of course.
So every time he's gonna give up and he taps you on the wrist and he's like, "What are you doing for? Get up, man."
Come
you
on.
know, so those things, you know, for me, if anybody knows me very well, I'm not the most spiritual person in the world, but I try to be. I try to be with my own self to understand, because you know, when you understand yourself from inside, you're able to understand others. And what you just said, it's so powerful, because a lot of things just I don't watch you do the work. And he says the same thing, Dad, but I have how long until I'm going to wear this watch? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to give you this watch. You know, because we understand the value, and that thing, you grew up with it, and it's in you. Sometimes when you're at the young age and you're growing up, or you're in a level of maturity where wisdom of age hasn't hit yet, you don't understand how to articulate it. Until now, you know the purpose. And now to your story, I'm going to add something that many people don't know about. The main reason why I started my shoe brand was after my mother passed away, which was one of the most difficult times of my life. I was very close with that woman like this. And when she passed, I could have never imagined in my wildest dream that a day would have come where I would be without that woman in my life. And when it happened, you know, life hits you. Like, anything is possible. We can try to get up here in the building stuff, and I have this car, I have that house. You could just go away the next day, and that's it. It's done. You know, nothing.
Yes, sir.
And I'll tell you something else that really bothered me. That night, when that happened, I was in New York. I got a call from my father, 4 o'clock in New York time, I think. So in Portugal, I clearly know something was wrong, so I didn't want to pick up the phone. And then I picked up again, and then I was like, oh God. That night, I lay down in the bed, and I literally felt, which wasn't the case, but I felt like on top of my roof, there was a party, people dancing, and I was in a casket. And I said, wow, look at this. Some people might be mourning, and some are dancing. So life continues. As an individual, don't take yourself too seriously, because you know you might think I'm the everything right now, and then you go away. The close immediate people will suffer, but the world's still gonna party, and sometimes it might be in your backyard. They have no idea. So for me, all of those lessons, it was a very difficult 3 to 4 months. And I needed to get out of it because I remember before prior she passed, and I was driving with her in Portugal, and I told her, I said, Mom, I want to start my own shoe business one day. And she said, my son, I know you can start anything you want to. Why wouldn't you? Of course you should do it. And then after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I had no idea what I was going to do. I only had two things with me, maybe three. I had my academic background, which was like guide me through, all of the administrative things that I know could possibly, I could do in order to structure the business. My years of fashion and a little financial, what would you call it? Like, my financial strength at the
Yeah,
time
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
start.
yeah,
And I had no idea what I was going to do, but I was being guided through the faith
yeah. Yes,
on
sir.
knowing that, you know what, you're doing something really showing that this is the reason why you want to do it. Because, like I said to you, um, I remember the time every year, I would meet some of my friends, models, like, we meet in Paris for a job and stuff. And, obviously, like you see your friends, you always say, hey, man, what are you doing? And what's going on? So everybody starts saying to you, what's going on?
Mm.
And I remember the time everybody used to say, oh, man, yeah, I just bought a building in Brooklyn. I just bought a building there. And I used to always question myself, it's like, what am I doing? Spending money when I should have been buying buildings. Like, what?
Yeah.
But funny enough, those same friends came today and said, wow, you had an idea what you wanted to do. Look what you built yourself already. And but I never, obviously these ideas would come, but I never entertained it because I knew that my path into what I wanted to do, it wasn't about all of that at that point. And just to tell you that we can have all the ideas, but it's important when we tap within and have a purpose. And you have a purpose right there. Now it makes perfect sense to me why your music is so brilliant and how people, when they're around you, they feel the joy you translate to them. So, I know it's not an easy thing because this is why I say to you that I empathize because I definitely know what is the pain of losing someone close to you.
Oh, yeah.
So, it would always be there, but as long as you use it and turn it into something positive, you making your father dance when you're playing. So,
Brother.
we
And it's
with you
very,
all the way, brother, all the way.
I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for sharing the very deep story of your mother.
I
Which,
don't think I've ever told anybody this on any aspect of, conversation other than close people to me. So, this is a big
I
one.
appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for that because it shows as well that you trust me enough with this knowledge and this because it's knowledge what you're sharing. It's a
Yeah.
spiritual knowledge, and it's important for people to understand that you know you may hear the stories of those billionaires. Like I like the story of this guy Tony Robbins who speaks about him having grown up in a family that was rather abusive. They didn't have much money. They actually had nothing almost, and how he sort of like turned his life upside down, from a day to another, literally, and by a succession of events. And now he's a multi-billionaire. And it's like, okay, on a different level, not that we're not getting there because we're working for that, because it's not like we're trying to become successful financially, or we are successful financially for the sake of showing off and having like how do you call ice on the wrist and all that. That's cool, but it's not going
No,
anywhere.
no. There's
You
bigger
know,
purpose behind
it's
that.
bigger, exactly, and it feels like these are important stories that we need to share, not because we want to get people's sympathy, because it's not about that. And some people are dumb enough to believe that, when actually it is just about inspiring one another and inspiring those kindred and like-minded spirits who might have gone through this sufferance or are not going through that shit yet. I'm sorry for cursing, but it's the truth. This shit is heavy. It's painful. And we pray for those of you who still have your parents, please, no matter what you're going through, cherish your family, your mother, your father, because they are goals. And us who
and
have lost. Go ahead, go ahead.
true. No, and yeah, and also this is the message. Now that we're having this, dialogue, I think it's important to share with people. And what I always try to do whenever I have opportunities, since like this platform to talk to people, is there's nothing wrong for you to be, have the need of being financially sound or being a billionaire, millionaire, whatever the case might be. But always have a purpose behind it. Like all these people we're talking about, and is I always believe that when you give, with the sole intent and purpose of giving, it comes back to you in ways sometimes you cannot quantify. Sometimes you can just get up and say, I want to make a pair, I want to make a shoes. You put all your hard work into it, and then people can retribute that to you in ways that you're like, wow, amazing. And then you can become something financially. And if that's the case, great. But when you get up and you just think that, you know what, I'm going to think about getting, you might even get it, but it's not going to last long.
It's not
and you get to the point where it's just like, yeah, even you come to the realization, it's like, what is it am I doing with my life? Or how am I contributing to the life of others around? So it's always important. It might take you long, but give with the intent and purpose of giving. So then when it comes back to you,
100%.
it multiplies.
You're ready for it.
This is how life is. And if we take those ideas, which is more of a spiritual connection to yourself. Because it's very easy in the world we're living in to compare. Oh, shoot, my neighbor got that. I got to have this. Oh, my God, like I have that. So
Thank you.
if you want to. That's the case if you want to. But just make sure you're doing it and you're getting it from all that you're giving back to others. So,
Brother, this is so true. This is so true.
Yeah,
Giving
man.
back and being determined to be of service to others. I think that you're saying something that's very, very profound. And please, brother, allow me to, not.
I'm here for you, by the way. Anything you want. I'm
I
here.
appreciate you. I don't want to
here.
digress from the actual topic, but I want to tap maybe now into your brand, and I want us to rebound, if you allow me to use this word,
Sure.
on the inspiration coming out of the pain you felt when your mother transitioned to the other realm of life. Because I believe firmly one thing, that your mother, my father are living in a different realm of existence. So
Absolutely.
technically, they are now ancestors that we can address ourselves to and that we can rely upon. And the beautiful thing is that because they are spirit, they can be anywhere, anytime with anyone and any member of the family, which is an absolute amazing, beautiful knowledge to have in mind. At least that's how I see it, and that's how I believe it works. Now, with that being said, as having such a powerful inspiration as having your mother behind the machines that kept you going as you launched your footwear brand, and this all in all remarkable fashion brand. I want to talk about sartorial and the art of, for a lot of people who may want to know what sartorial means. Sartorial is the art of, maybe you can tell us about sartorial, and maybe you can tell us about how elegance defines us as Africans, and how you use that source of inspiration that you said has inspired your childhood without you really knowing. Your mother sewing your clothes, your father, always been, on point. And how is that, translating now into your vision for what Armando Cabral as a brand, as a fashion brand is going to be from this point onwards?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Look, I think at least Sartology, Sartology, for example, it's a tradition that's long lived in cultural. In cultures in Africa, for example, the sapeurs, for example, in Congo, that I think it was their way of getting out of like the distress that was around, war, the poverty, the anger and all that stuff, and they figured that in order to distract ourselves from all this, in a positive way, we're going to make ourselves feel good. And that's the positive message that I take from that movement and that idea that exists in everywhere. Like, for example, in Angola, they call it Bangalogia, so it's like you have it everywhere, the sartorial wall for the Western world. I think the concept of basically showing yourself through your visual, I think, as you know, sadly, today, more than ever, we are judged by our visual appearance rather than what's in here sometimes, or or what's in here, And I think, in a way, you can use it for your advantage because, it's a way to allow people to, understand who you are. For me, footwear, the reference I take and why it's so important, and it's always been important, is that shoes, to me, is one of the most important accessories. The first will define an outfit. That's how I agree.
I agree.
When you have the right shoes, you're going places. When you have the right shoes, you know that the outfits that you're going to put up with it will follow. You know what I mean?
Brother, I feel you on that one.
So, to me, I've always viewed it that way. And it's also self-expression of who you are. How do you, it invites people to understand your taste, your likes, and, even, how can somebody perceive, your other life outside what you wear? Because, you have the right shoes or right clothes or something, somehow it perceives some sort of like idea of who you are as a whole. Yes. And, I took that as an example from day one because I saw my father always took the importance on his job, on his visual appearance, and who he is and how he wanted to reflect and show people who he is. If you're walking on the street and you don't know him, you will not have any interaction with him. At least when you see him, you probably will, transcend the message of image of like a decent person in a way. Not necessarily as a whole, because, you don't judge people based on what they wear. That's just it's wrong. But I think that's in terms of creative aspect of things, this is what I always try to translate and then also I always try to add an element of who I am. My shoes, I always wanted to design it for myself in a way. As a consumer, what is it that, if I had to go buy that shoes, would I buy it? What would he, have that I need to, consider a purchase? You know what I mean? So those things are in my head. And that was the main part of the reasons why I started the shoes, because the world didn't need another shoe brand, but I the message, a way to reinvent the wheel through my own visual, channel. It's very imperative in every single design that we put out, because first of all, I look at myself as the first customer before anyone. Will I buy these shoes?
Yeah.
Will I buy these shoes? Yes. Why would I buy it? Is the quality? Is the comfort? Does it give the value for the money I'm paying for? All of those aspects of it is part of why I started the business. And this is how I view it in terms of like, creative aspect. That's my standpoint as like a consumer viewing it. But then also you have the other part of like, yes, it's a business and you have to figure out a way to, continue to make sure that, business sustain itself, but do it in a, dignified way that, you feel confident in what people are paying, because, we are nothing unless our end customer buy the product. So, those things to me, I think it was always an advantage for me, because I was crossing from a place of a consumer first that wanted to do something to add to the market. So, that's always going to be my vision, and I hope that anyone that owns my shoes see this reflecting into our products and stuff.
And talking about that, how can one own a pair of shoes from Armando Cabral, or any of the collections that you're putting out? Like what? Because it's a very sophisticated brand. I mean, the quality of it is remarkable and receives quite the accolades. So how does one get a hold of a beautiful Armando Cabral pair of shoes? Is there do you have like physical shops? What is your process? Do you distribute online? How does it work?
Yeah, so we had a physical store in Portugal for everybody that lives in Portugal and more the people in diaspora that stop over in Portugal, which we no longer have, but we will reconsider that in the future, in a different aspect. But for now, we have our e-commerce that is open, which is www.armando-cabral.com, where you can buy all the range of products that we have, and we ship worldwide. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can always buy your shoes and it ships directly to you. But as I was saying earlier, part of our strategy for 2020, which now after push to maybe Q4 or probably early next year, we're gonna have several implementations of how in several key cities in the world where we can kind of give a one-on-one relationship with our customers. Excuse me, to kind of have the feel and and have a direct communication with our representative and stuff. In events, for example, that I'm going to be taking part of as well. So, that's part of our strategy moving forward. That will be coming through you. We don't have in specifics any cities yet that we're going to reveal, but eventually you'll have all those informations when the time is right.
If I may ask you, how many people constitute your team? How many people does it require to have with you as you are embarking on such a journey of creating such a brand and all the shoes and all the other elements that you're going to add to the brand? How many people does it require?
My team is still relatively small, but we consolidate and we use a lot of outsourcing services, for example. Altogether, we're about 7. But then we already have outsourcing, services. For example, you have to have the accountant, the VP of operations, and then you have to have the website manager. We have a design team, we have a product manager team that actually in Italy that they're not here that we have to kind of like work with. It's still relatively a small team. But, we do use outsources in terms of services for, people that actually not in the United States, but, we use their services that work with us directly,
Fantastic. All right, so
it's a little village in order to, keep the wheel going.
Of course, brother. Of course, man. I mean, same here, man. My team is very small. We operate from a very small sort of like number type situation, but I believe that you don't need, 100 people plus. So it's cool because you're hiring more people. But then your overhead cost might be way too much compared to what you're making.
It's a gradual process. When it gets to the point where we have to be 100 for sure, it'll be great. But there was a reason why, But then if we have to get to 2,000, then there'll be a reason why, So
exactly. You have to
process.
Don't go beyond your means, especially if you're trying to get there slow.
Never.
Well, brother, thank you very much for these beautiful insights. And
more than welcome. I don't know if anybody want to give us some questions or something. If we do have any time for it. So if we do,
I have 5 minutes because my mother came to visit. She was doing some stuff in the house. So mothers when they're starting to call us, it's like
it's time to go.
It's time to go. But if anyone has a question for Brother Armando Cabral, please feel free to
send it to me. I'm happy to respond when
please. And if you can you please send this interview? Of course. This is going to be posted on YouTube. It's going to be a 2-part interview because we had literally 2 hours of Armando's time, which is extremely rare. So I appreciate you, brother, for giving us this time. And as you can clearly see, Mr. Cabral is one of the most humble and down-to-earth person that I have gotten to meet, especially when you consider the amount of accolades he has accumulated in his career and in his life, and yet to accumulate indeed. So that's not me trying to be an MC and trying to be a griot and hype your merits, but that's just stating the obvious.
Thank you, man. I'm going to make your words mine, and appreciate the opportunity to share my story with you and even learn about you. And what I want to say here before we go is about that, every time we get together, whether it's 5 minutes, we're going to have a moment to talk about deep issues.
Sure.
It will connect us like that. And then we can go on to listen to your great music and go crazy and have fun and party.
Yes, sir.
I think this is important. And like I said earlier, I think you can count on me, and I hope I can. I'm sure I can count on you.
As I said,
we can do things anytime. This is
You know,
our
let's
platform
do
for
it.
us to talk to each other. So let's
I
do it.
believe I
Big
believe
time.
today was an introduction and it was an opportunity for people to understand,
Absolutely.
you know. But I think the next conversation we're having has to be really. I want us to tap deep into the business and some of the knowledge that you've gathered, and really give people some really key in the hand type of answers to concrete
Absolutely.
questions as a young entrepreneurs. You know, I think
Absolutely.
this is the next conversation I would like for us to have. So I will definitely schedule that with you offline. But family, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you, guys.
Please make sure you follow brother Armando Cabral and his brother Fernando Cabral, who both of them are doing so much for us
He's the
as a
man. He's
people
the
and as a
man.
diaspora. So please, God bless you, brother. And we are
Thank you.
together. As we say en français, on est ensemble.
On est ensemble. Merci beaucoup. Hein. On est
Yes, my
ensemble.
brother. God
Merci
bless
beaucoup.
y'all. Y'all take care, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Much
you.
love, brother. Thank
Love,
you.
love, love,
Thanks,
love.
everyone. Ciao. Ciao,
Yes.
ciao. Ciao.